That's better. I've just sat down now with a nice brew and a biscuit. You can't beat a right good brew, can you? I've just got home, and on my way I passed a group of school kids. All had their heads in phones, they did. We didn't have phones in our days, they weren't out then. You were lucky if you had a pencil. I never had a pencil, me. There were a lad in my class, Mac Dade he were. I'll not say his first name. He always used pinch mine. I were always getting me knuckles wrapped because I didn't have a pencil. You'd go into class in the morning and teacher would say, "Now stand up, we're going to do times table." And then she'd pick somebody out. "Julie," she'd say, "what's your 9 times table?" Well, I could never do it on the spot. So she'd come round and wrap me on knuckles with ruler. And after that, it were pencil check. She'd go round meticulously looking at everybody's desk to make sure they had right pencil and ruler to do the schoolwork. Well, I never had mine because Mac Dade had always pinched it. So I'd get me knuckles wrapped for that as well. But I always used to get me own back because Mac Dade, he were a terror, but she always got his name wrong. Whenever she talked to him, she called him Mac Dowd, and it used to get right on his nerves. Oh, I used to love it when she did that, because he'd put his hand up and he'd say, "Excuse me, miss, it's Mac Dade." So she'd come round to him, she'd get hold of him, bit top of his ear, pull him up off his chair, and she'd say to him, "Are you trying to teach me how to speak English? Don't come round here, you try to tell me how to talk English until you've got a job like me as a teacher. Now sit down and shut your face." Well, he'd sit down right quiet and we'd all laugh. But his quiet didn't last long because he were always doing something, Mac Dade. He were always ripping ribbons out of girls' hair. Mine especially. So if he weren't at me for my pencil, he would try and mess me hair up. Oh, I'd go on me many a time skriking because of my pencil and my hair. And my gran'd always say, "What you skriking for again, you? Put your face straight. If you don't stop skriking, I'll give you a clout round the ear hole," she'd say. If I skriked every time I lost summit, I'd be skriking all day amount of money you cost me. Well, she tried to keep me nice, me gran. She were always on Tommyfield Market buying summit. I had one of them gabardine Macs, you know, for school. Do you remember them? They only come in navy blue, and they were always checked inside. Well, my gabardine Mac went right down past my knees. It were more toward my ankles, really. "Stop skriking," she'd say, "you'll grow in it sooner or later." I had a pair of them sandals as well. They were right wide at front. All kids had them then. They were only made in either tan or navy blue. And they were right flat. Do you remember them? You had them on, and when you were walking, you looked like you were on your way to Chipperfield Circus. You looked like a clown's feet. I must have looked like a right street urchin, me, because my socks were always grey as well. They should have been white. And elastic had always gone, so they were always round my ankles. As I were walking through school, teacher had said, "Pull your socks up, Julie." Well, I couldn't because elastic had gone. So that were another slap on legs. Ooh, I were always getting it for some at me. But we were gradely folk, homely. You knew your place though as a child. You were always seen and not heard. You didn't speak till you were spoken to. But there were always lovely things in our house, like nice smells of home cooking. Oh, I remember one day going home and my gran were making fatty cakes. She were rolling it all out on top. She always had pinny on me gran. It were always full of flour. She'd roll fatty cakes on top and all flour would go everywhere, so she'd wipe her hands on a pinny. Come to think of it, she wiped everything on that pinny. It were filthy. These fatty cakes, they had currants in. You'd call them currant cakes now, but they were fatty cakes then because they were all lard. Oh, but it did smell good when you come in our house. She always made more than you needed, just in case Ada from number 4 dropped in, or Elsie from number 6. You didn't have to make an appointment then. You just dropped into people's houses and there were always a fatty cake and a brew in ours. But one day I tried to steal one of these fatty cakes while my gran weren't looking, but I swear she had eyes in the back of her head because I were up them stairs quicker than you can say Jack Robinson. Oh, you didn't pinch nout in our house. But I were hungry and it smelt right good. They were good days them, you know. We had a hairdresser, you know, talking about her. She had rickets. I'm not lying, that woman had rickets. She used to stand on something when she cut me hair. She were 3'4" with bandy legs. When we used to leave, my gran used to say, "Now, don't keep staring at her. She couldn't stop a pig in Ginnell, that bugger." Come to think of it, a pig had have probably done a better job of me hair. She'd be there chopping away, and sometimes when she'd done me fringe, I ended up not having one it were that short. And other times, I'd swear she would try to make steps to climb on top of me head. It were never straight. She always charged 1 and 6. That's what I remember. "Just give us 1 and 6, she'd say. "I've got to put food on table. It don't come from nowhere." She were all right, though. But she were a bad hairdresser. We had us playing out clothes as a kid. Mine were always a vest and a pair of shorts. And then we had a set for best, for special occasions. We never had many special occasions, us. But playing out, we had some fun. I'd go climbing trees and sliding down dirt tracks on old bits of plastic and wood. And once I remember making a bogie out of 4 wheels and a plank of wood. They were them pram wheels, you know, from the old Silver Cross prams. We called them bogies, but some people call them go-karts. And you'd go rolling down hills on tyres, getting black as the ace of spades. And then when you went home, it were bath and off to bed. Sometimes you didn't even have your tea, you were that tired. They were good days, them. But the only time we dressed up were Whitsuntide. I used to love Whitsuntide. I remember having a lemon poncho with white tassels, lovely white tights and black patent shoes and a little green dress. And I felt right posh. I got dressed this particular day on Whitsuntide and my gran said, "Oh, don't you look swanky?" So she gave me this little purse with a chain on it and she said, "Now go over yonder and show 'em your nice clothes and they'll give you 6pence in your purse." And that's what I did. That were a day I felt proper posh. You were really la-di-da if you had some nice clothes. And you made a bit of a profit too as a kid. Getting 6pences all over the place. I love Whitsunday. All the spotlight were on you and your new clothes. And that what one day my dad never bothered me. I remember having a straight fringe at Whitsunday. I mustn't have been at the hairdressers. But looking back at the old photos, all my hair were at the same level. So I'm sure somebody must have put a basin on my head and cut round it. They were good days, them, though. I were a mucky child, me. Even on Whitsunday, I remember, wherever there were a pile of dog muck, I'd stand in it. It didn't matter where I were. It didn't matter whether I had my best clothes on or not. I'd always find dog muck. "Why don't you watch where you're going?" my gran would say. Well, I did. I just couldn't avoid dog muck. But you know what? I'd rather have lived in them days than now. Aye. We always had us head in a book, nor a phone. Some of us could read be 4-year-old and we could write be 5. We didn't have calculators then, and 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds weren't brought up on iPads, iPhones and tablets. I thought tablets were things you got from doctor for rheumatics. That's where they were in my day. Ah well, I'll get back to me brew. I'll be back soon with another tale from North. Ta-ra!